Right, what we're going to do now is simplify rational expressions. Rational expressions are ones that have variables and numbers in a fraction, basically. And so to simplify, what we want to be able to do is factor. And so that's the first thing we need to understand. What we're going to do is we're going to factor. So let's look at our numerator here. And if I factor this, well, 5x is already kind of factored. So then we look at our trinomial. And the trinomial is what two numbers multiply to give me 3 and add up to 4. That factors to x plus 3, x plus 1. Then we look at our denominator. X minus 6 is already factored, so I'll just put that in parentheses. The next thing is x squared minus 9. Well, x squared minus 9 is x plus 3 and x minus 3. That's the difference of squares. Once I have it all factored, you're going to look on the top and the bottom of the fraction and cancel anything that is the same. So if I look at x plus 3 cancels because it's the same. Nothing else is the same on numerator denominator, so I'm left with 5x, x plus 1, and I'm left with x minus 6 times x minus 3. And since there's nothing to cancel out, this is a simplified answer. So let's look at what undefined means. Undefined means, since we have fractions in all these problems, you can't have a 0 equaling in the denominator. So let's just do the denominator part. So the denominator part is we have 4x, and we have to factor it. So I have 4x, and then I have to factor x squared plus 6 plus 8, which factors to x plus 4 and x plus 2. So we have 3 factors, and what we have to do is set those equal to 0, and whatever we get are our 3 terms that make it undefined. So if I put a 0 in for x, that makes everything on the bottom 0, which can't happen. So if I make 4x equals 0 and solve, which x equals 0, there's my first number that makes it undefined. If I go x plus 4 equals 0 and subtract 4 from both sides, I get x equals negative 4. So that can't work. And then our last one, x plus 2 equals 0, I subtract 2 on both sides, I get negative 2. So the 3 values, undefined values, that make the 0 are 0, negative 4, negative 2. So 0, negative 4, and negative 2 all make this undefined. So all you have to do is look at the denominator when you're doing those problems. So we're going to look at this and simplify. So let's just go through the process I just described on the previous slide. So I'm going to factor the numerator. So if I look at this first, I take out the greatest common factor, which is w, which leaves me a 4w minus 3y. And the w plus y is already factored. And then I look on the bottom, I got a 3y minus 4w. That's already, nothing can be done. And then I have a 5w plus y. So if I look at this, I have nothing that's exactly the same, but I have something that's close. And if you look right here, these two factors are close, but they're not exactly the same. They're opposites. So to do this problem, I'm going to use what's called a negative 1. And by doing that, I'm going to take a negative 1, and I'm going to put it in the numerator. So that makes this a negative 1, or everything changes its sign. So the w becomes a negative w. The 4w becomes a minus, and the negative 3 becomes a positive. So I'm going to change the order and go 3 minus 4w. There's my numerator. And then the w over here becomes a negative w minus y. And there's my numerator change. And all I did was multiply by negative 1. Now the denominator doesn't change at all. So the denominator stays 3y minus 4w and 5w plus y. So nothing changes in the denominator, but the numerator changes its sign. By doing that, we now have these two factors that are exactly the same that can cancel out, which then leaves us with our negative w minus y over 5w plus y. And so theirs are simplified by using a negative 1 to change so we can cancel out factors.